It says, as I, Daniel, was trying to understand the meaning of this vision, someone looked like a man stood in front of me. Someone who looked like a man stood in front of me. And I heard a human voice calling out from the Urali River, Gabriel, tell this man the meaning of his vision. Gabriel being an angel sent from God. As Gabriel approached the place where I was standing, I became so terrified that I fell with my face to the ground. That's a common reaction when you're in the presence of an angel. Son of man, he said, you must understand that the events you have seen in your vision relate to the time of the end. While he was speaking, I fainted and laid there with my face to the ground, but Gabriel rose me with a touch and helped me to my feet. Then he said, I am here to tell you what will happen later in the time of wrath when what you have seen pertains to the very end of time. The two-horned ram represents the king of Media and Persia. The shaggy male goat represents the king of Greece. And the large horn between his eyes represents the first king of the Greek Empire. The four prominent horns that replace the one large horn show that the Greek Empire will break into four kingdoms. None of this has happened yet, okay? Will break into four kingdoms, but none as great as the first. At the end of their rule, when their sin is at its height, a fierce king, a master of intrigue, will rise to power. That's the Antichrist. He will become very strong, but not by his own power. He will cause a shocking amount of destruction and succeed in everything he does. He will destroy powerful leaders and devastate the holy people. He will be a master of deception and will become arrogant. He will destroy many without warning. He will even take on the prince of princes in battle, but he will be broken, though not by human power. This vision about the 2,300 evenings and mornings is true, but none of these things will happen for a long time, so keep this vision a secret. Then I, Daniel, was overcome and lay sick for several days. Afterwards, I got up and performed my duties for the king, but I was greatly troubled by the vision and could not understand it. Daniel's given all of this, and none of it has happened. The kingdoms have not split. None of this stuff has happened at all. So now, throughout Daniel's lifetime, this stuff starts to unfold and beyond. Okay? Now, in chapter 9, I'll read one thing, a quote from a scholar. It says, the quick description given here of the end time, the fourth beast and the 10 horns, followed by the 11th horn that gained control of 3, has never been fulfilled in history. This is that one thing that we're waiting for. Some have attempted to find 10 kings in the past with 11 kings rising to fill the prophecy, but there's nothing like this corresponding to the Roman Empire. The 10 horns must reign simultaneously and further. They are not the world empire, but a forerunner to the little horn, which after subduing 3 of the 10 horns will go on to be the world ruler. That's just a scholar basically saying, I'm really smart and I'm telling you that the Antichrist is coming. Well, good for you, because I could have told you that too. Let's move on to chapter 9, get through the 70 weeks. Daniel's given a calendar of these ages ahead, divided into 3 specific parts. I want to look at, pull out your chart. Okay, see if you can follow along. Now, verse 24, I'm going to read some of this. Chapter 9, verse 24 says, a period of 70 sets of 7 has been decreed for your people and your holy city to finish the rebellion, to put an end to their sin, to atone for their guilt, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to confirm the prophetic vision, and to anoint the most holy place. Now listen and understand. 7 sets of 7 plus 62 sets of 7 will pass from the time the command is given to rebuild Jerusalem until a ruler, the anointed one, comes. Jerusalem will be rebuilt with streets and strong defenses despite the perilous times. After this period of 62 sets of 7, the anointed one will be killed, appearing to have accomplished nothing. And a ruler will arise whose armies will destroy the city and the temple. The end will come with a flood and the war and its miseries. are decreed from that time to the very end. The ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of 1 set of 7. But after half this time, he will put an end to the sacrifices and offerings, and as a climax to all his terrible deeds, he will set up a sacrilegious object that causes desecration until the fate decreed for this defiler is finally poured out on him. So verse 24 talks about the things that will be accomplished during this time. There will be finished transgressions, put an end to sin, to atone for wickedness, to bring everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Some of those things have happened. Some of these things are coming. So when will it start? Well, it began in that decree of that king that I can't pronounce the name of in 444 BC. So first, there will be 7 sevens, or 7 times 7, equaling 49 years. The temple is rebuilt and the walls of Jerusalem restored, completed by 396 BC, which is in the 49th year. This has all happened. Okay? Second, there will be 62 sevens, or 434 years, during which the anointed one or ruler will come. The end of this 69 weeks will be when the Messiah will be cut off and will have nothing, which works out to be about 33 AD. When did Jesus die? 33 AD. Okay? This is all said before Christ is anywhere to be found. Verse 26 says the people of the ruler, the Romans, will come and destroy the temple in AD 70. That's what the math leads up to, that AD 70, the temple will be destroyed. What happened in AD 70? Come on. Work with me. Yeah. All right. Now, the final week, or the 70th week, the tribulation period, after the church age begins with the Antichrist makes a covenant with Israel for 7 years. So the tribulation period officially begins when the Antichrist makes a deal with Israel, a peace treaty with Israel, and that is when the 7 years of tribulation start to go. The temple would be rebuilt and sacrifices renewed, but the covenant would be broken halfway. That says that in verse 27. That's 1,260 days in that this would be broken. And the sacrifices entered in favor of his own abomination. In other words, he gets puffed up, and it's all about him, and he gets arrogant, and so on and so forth. And then 3.5 years later, Jesus returns, kicks the crap out of him, and we all come back and reign on earth. Sound good? Yeah, that's the gist of it. So look at your little chart there. One thing I'm going to explain really quick. I want you to write these down if you're taking notes. 1,260 days equals 1/2 of Daniel's 70th week, meaning 3.5 years. So 1,260 times 2 is the entire 7 years. A standard 3.5 years equals 42 months. Okay, but Revelation 11:3 and 12:6 gives us 1,260 days. It must be a 30-day month used or a 360-day year to get 1,260. Under this time frame, Daniel's 69 weeks, 69 times 7 years times 360 days equals 173,880 days biblical time. So March 5th was BC 444 on our calendar. So this began on March 5th, BC, in the year 444, was when that king that I can't pronounce started this whole thing off, okay? Plus 173,880 days equals March 30th, AD 33. March 30th, AD 33, if you look on your thing, is shown in Daniel 9, verse 26. March 30th, AD 33 is when Christ made his triumphant entry, when he rode into town on the donkey. That's when that day was March 30th, AD 33. And then he dies April 30th in AD 33. April 3rd, in AD 33. That's how the calendars all work out. I know that maybe messes up your brain with some of your holidays. Yeah, guess what? Most of our holidays aren't right as far as the date is concerned because we've made the holidays to be convenient for us, not to follow the specific exact biblical. I mean, the only one that really doesn't change is December 25th, but then was Jesus really actually born on December 25th? Probably not. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with celebrating his birthday on December 25th, but we don't know the exact date that he was born. So that's just with the calculations, it would have been April 3rd, AD 33.